how many times have you cheated?
I've been with 3 other people.
I know at least 6 that she's been with. So there's no reason to fake the funk.
He believes that's so many
I believe
people.
you've been with more than 6. I believe you've been with 13.
But then again,
16.
And she's making this point, and I have to agree, that you have had a relationship with some type of relationship for over years. I mean, we're not talking about 8 months, 8 weeks, 8 years.
Overall, I felt pressured.
How did you feel pressure? Who was putting pressure on you?
Number one, her family member brought me to the hospital.
So you got her, someone picked you up and brought you to the hospital.
Yeah.
And you said, okay, I'm gonna go.
The court session starts with the judge making a relaxed call for everyone to take their seats. Buckle up, because this is about to get as twisty as a pretzel.
Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Hammond versus Hammond.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Mrs. Hammond, you claim that after 10 years of marriage and repeated attempts to get pregnant, a month ago, you finally gave birth to your miracle baby, Isaac.
Can things get any more tangled? Mrs. Hammond paints a picture of their rocky marriage, highlighting their on-again, off-again status and the emotional chasm created by their fertility struggles and the eventual arrival of their child. Just when you think it can't get any more soap opera, the judge dives deeper.
Currently, we're separated. We're on and off. You know, after 11 years of being together, all we wanted was to have a baby, and we finally got that, and it's sadly brought us further apart than bring us together.
All because of paternity doubt?
Yes, ma'am.
Hold on to your hats, because here comes a curveball. The judge delves into the murky depths of Mr. Hammond's doubts about paternity, prompting him to spill the beans about his wife's alleged multiple affairs, including a particularly scandalous video incident. What's coming will make your jaw drop.
She's had multiple partners, and she lies to my face constantly. How am I supposed to believe someone who's telling me it's night and it's daytime? You know what I mean?
So you say she lies to you all the time?
All the time. She had me in a snowsuit in the middle of summer.
So I want to understand this. I mean, you've been together 11 years, so the marriage has come to this?
I can only be the fool so many times to where I'm putting my dukes up because I'm tired of being that.
What could possibly happen now? Mr. Hammond lays out his stash of cheating evidence, including a graphic video and some eyebrow-raising testimonials from others, which Mrs. Hammond staunchly denies. Brace yourself, because there's more drama brewing on the horizon.
I've seen a video of my wife giving oral to another man.
That is such a lie. There is no video.
But was there a man and was there oral sex?
And in all honesty, there has been cheating on both sides. My husband cheated on me first. I took it the wrong way. About a year after that happened, I've cheated on him. I have been with other people. It was known on both sides. It wasn't something that I hid. It's sad.
Just when you think you've seen it all, they unpack the messy attempts to salvage their marriage amidst meddling family influences and explosive secrets. But hold your horses. Mr. Hammond is about to reveal something that turns the heat up even more.
So soon after she left to go to California, she tells you you're pregnant, right?
Correct.
Take me back to that day.
She tells me she's pregnant, and at first I was ecstatic, you know, but then she's texting this man that she loves, right, and saying a whole bunch of things that would lead me to believe that she's more than friends.
How will she explain this one? Mr. Hammond whips out text message proof of Mrs. Hammond's ongoing chit-chat with another man, loaded with affection and emojis. Watch the judge's reaction. It's priceless, and there's still more to come.
Thank you,
Give me
sir.
that evidence. Thank you. This evidence is what exactly?
It's conversations with my wife and another man that should not be spoken.
Oh.
She's in the same place as this man is, you know what I mean?
And you posted these to your social media?
Correct.
How does your wife of 11 years text people she's cheated on her husband with messages like this after he loved her enough to stay with her and forgive her?
Right.
This exchange is a real eye-opener. The judge calls out Mrs. Hammond for her suspiciously intimate text messages with another man, challenging the innocence of their relationship. Hang tight, because the courtroom's about to get even steamier.
You saw this man?
Yes, I did. I met him at our local county park, said hello to him. It was a friend that we had both worked with, and it was nothing more than that. It was somebody that was probably trying to get at me, but nothing I was going to involve myself.
Now hold on, Ms. Hammond. Don't waste my time. This is not an exchange between a coworker just met at the park for a minute. It ain't that many kissy faces in the world that you got to type after you meet a coworker at the park.
The stakes are higher than a giraffe's eye. The potential impact of the child's paternity on Mr. Hammond's willingness to fully embrace fatherhood takes center stage. The story of Mr. Hammond's antics during the birth is up next, and it's a doozy.
You believe that this person could be Isaac's biological
Correct.
father?
Yes, ma'am, and numerous others. I mean, she's moved so single, claims to be a married woman.
So can you take me to the point when Isaac is born? Were you at the birth?
I was.
Did you participate?
I signed the birth certificate in the last Hammond. So if I don't have a son, then my family's name is done. So maybe I rushed to to want to be the father.
Here comes the moment of truth. Both parties confess to multiple infidelities, laying bare the deep trust issues slicing through their marriage. Up next, Mrs. Hammond's brother steps into the fray with insights that add a whole new layer of intrigue.
How many times have you cheated?
I've been with 3 other people.
I know at least 6 that she's been with. So there's no reason to fake the funk.
He believes that's him.
I believe you've been with more than 6. I believe you've been with 13.
Then again,
16.
Why are you saying these numbers?
Because she would tell me anything. I mean, I've been the brunt of the joke many times. You know what I mean? So it's hard for her to say, this is your child.
What will the brother reveal? Mrs. Hammond's twin brother steps up, shedding light on the couple's chaotic relationship and his unexpected role in supporting the child due to the father's doubts and detachment. Don't go anywhere. The DNA results are about to drop, and they're a game changer.
So what are we hoping for today?
I want him to know the truth. I want him to be a part of his son's life. I want him to be the father he promised me that he would be. I want him to be a husband again. I would like to have my marriage back.
You want this marriage and you want this family.
Yes, Your Honor. Very badly.
How about you, Mr. Hammond?
I would become a different father if I knew this was my child. I mean, I'm not gonna raise the next man's baby.
The suspense is killing me. The climactic moment arrives as the judge unveils the DNA test results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Hammond, you are the father.
The courtroom drama starts with Jerome rolling out the welcome mat and announcing the heavyweight bout Rainey v. Matthews. The stage is set, the players are ready, and boy, does it look like we're in for a showdown.
Hello, Your Honor. This is a case of Rainey versus Matthews.
Thank you, Jerome.
You're welcome.
Good day, everyone. Ms. Rainey, you are here today requesting 2 paternity tests and suing the man you say is father of your children.
Mr. Matthews fires back with gusto, casting doubt like it's going out of style. He argues that Ms. Rainey's promiscuity and the dubious honor of naming their son after another man are big red flags. Hold on to your hats, because Ms. Rainey's comeback is just around the corner.
And you claim you have every reason to doubt you are the father of Ms. Rainey's children. You say she is known to be promiscuous and even named her son after another man. Confident the children are not yours, and that will be proven when today's DNA results are revealed.
In a plot twist, Ms. Rainey explains the saga behind naming her son Salah, citing a mix of pressure and spite directed at Mr. Matthews during a particularly tumultuous paternity squabble. Grab your popcorn, because the emotional roller coaster is just picking up speed.
Why did you name your son after another man?
He told me to. Okay, the situation is, when I found out I was pregnant, I told him and the other person that it was between both of them.
You weren't sleeping with anybody else during the time of
I
conception.
slept with him and Rondell.
The courtroom turns into a verbal battlefield as accusations fly like arrows in a medieval skirmish. Judge Lake has to step in like a referee in a boxing match to calm the storm and get the proceedings back on track. You won't believe what comes next as they dive into the nitty-gritty of diaper duty.
Mr. Matthews, why you have such a negative opinion of Ms. Rainey, and she's making this point, and I have to agree, that you have had a relationship with some type of relationship for over years. I mean, we're not talking about 8 months, 8 weeks, 8 years.
As doubts about paternity linger in the air like a bad sitcom, Mr. Matthews owns up to signing the birth certificate for Renaya, but clings to his skepticism about Solly. But wait, the DNA results are on their way, and you'll want front row seats for this.
How can you treat her mother and talk about her mother and address her mother this way? This child's birth certificate, and have pretty much owned up and said, I am her father, and think that it's okay.
Because he don't respect
You
himself.
know, because she don't
Anytime
respect
you can
herself.
take the time out your day talking
She don't
about
respect herself.
somebody
She
who you
work-
got a
she like-
child by.
The financial woes take center stage as Ms. Rainey pulls out receipts. Literally, she details her financial battles and minimal support from Mr. Matthews, showing off a stack of receipts for children's essentials. The courtroom is all ears as the DNA drumroll begins.
You are suing him for half of the child care expenses in the amount of $4,663.50. Now, have you brought the court any evidence
Yes.
of monies you've spent
Your Honor.
thus far? So tell me, has he helped you at all?
He bought a pack of diapers and a can of milk.
The moment of truth approaches with palpable tension. The court readies itself to unveil the DNA test results that will determine Mr. Matthews' paternity status. This could be a game changer, folks.
You could please hand me the envelope. I'm ready for the results. Thank you. You're welcome. These results, as prepared by DNA Diagnostics, reads as follows. In the case of Rainey versus Matthews,
Drum roll, please. The DNA results are in. And surprise, surprise.
Mr. Matthews, you are his father. Mr. Matthews, it was hard to sit here and witness a man disrespect a woman that's the mother of his children in this way.
Overrated though.
I have to tell you.
The judge and everyone say hi and get ready for a wild court session.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Thomas versus Hadley.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Thomas, you claim you're involved in a love triangle that has resulted in the defendant denying her 7-month-old son, Jeremiah.
Yes.
You've petitioned the court for a paternity test to prove that he is the father so he can stop living a double life.
Ms. Thomas can't figure out why Mr. Hadley is playing pretend about their son. She talks about their messy love life, even mentioning another guy, Tyler. It seems like Mr. Hadley is trying to win an award for his dramatic switch-ups in behavior.
This is just going on for way too long. He's denying my son, but he's still around him all the time. Acts like a father towards him when he's with me, and then he goes to Tyler and acts like he's not.
Why do you think he's denying?
He's denying for Tyler. She manipulates him to make him feel guilty for staying around me and my son all the time and not being around her and her daughter.
When Ms. Stallworth is not around, he's a good dad to Jeremiah.
Yes.
He's there.
Yes.
He treats him like it's his child.
Yes.
When looking into when Jeremiah was born, Mr. Hadley spills the beans about not being careful and also hints there might be another dad. This throws a big twist into who the real dad could be.
Take me to this pregnancy. You tell Mr. Hadley you're pregnant.
Yes.
When you find out, what do you say?
I told him I was pregnant. I even sent him a picture of the pregnancy test as well. He asked me if I was keeping it, and I said yes. That was the end of it. The next day is when he started doubting it. The same day I told him was the day he told Mrs. Stallworth, and she was all upset about it.
Mr. Hadley felt pushed to be there when Jeremiah was born because Ms. Thomas's family expected it. They all have a laugh debating whose last name the baby should have, showing who's the boss in the family.
Overall, I felt pressured.
How did you feel pressure? Who was putting pressure on you?
Number one, her family member brought me to the hospital.
So you got her, someone picked you up and brought you to the hospital.
Yeah.
And you said, okay, I'm gonna go.
You know, out of respect, you know, everything. I'm going. So while I'm there, they're about to name the child, and she said the child's last name is gonna be Hadley. She's Jamaican, and her whole family's Jamaican. So it's a whole bunch of Jamaicans in the room.
They talk about a sketchy home DNA test that didn't help much. Ms. Thomas thinks it's a joke. The judge calls Ms. Stallworth to give her side, adding more suspense and drama.
Come on, man.
We used a condom.
So, Mr. Hadley, how are you so convinced you aren't when you admittedly slept with her on the 19th, even if this other guy did not protect himself on the 26th? You understand that you're still within the window of conception.
We also had a home DNA test done, and the results were inconclusive.
You did?
Yes.
So you did a home test?
Yes.
Ms. Stallworth, who's with Mr. Hadley, testifies and throws more confusion into the mix. She questions the baby's dad, pointing at Ms. Thomas's flings and the unreliable DNA test. Everyone's eager to see what comes next.
Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
So, Ms. Stallworth, are you in agreement with Mr. Hadley that this is not his biological child?
Yes, Your Honor.
And why do you believe that to be so?
Because she was sleeping with somebody else around the same time, and the test that came back inconclusive.
And you two are in a relationship, Mr. Hadley and yourself, you all are in a relationship now?
No, we're gearing towards a relationship, but this is
There's no gearing towards
a
a relationship when he's
problem.
staying with me.
The judge calls out Mr. Hadley for not taking things seriously, stirring up trouble between Ms. Thomas and Ms. Stallworth. This leads to a deeper chat about taking responsibility and getting some answers.
Oh, you two have a child as well?
Yes, we do. We have a baby girl.
How old is your child?
She'll be 2 in November.
And Jeremiah is 7 months. So this has been a love triangle that's been going on for a while.
Yes.
Depending on whose house you stay in.
Yes.
Well, it was like whenever she would get mad at me a lot of times, and she'll kick me out.
Miss Thomas was the reason.
Finally, the judge reveals the DNA results to find out if
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Hadley, you are not his father.
Oh my God.
the court session starts with the judge calling the case, Johnson versus Johnson. It's like the intro to a not-so-romantic movie, setting the stage for a drama-filled showdown. Grab your popcorn. The emotional roller coaster is just starting.
Good day, everyone. Mrs. Johnson, you are here today on the verge of divorce because you claim your husband of 7 years forcing you to choose him over your 12-year-old son, Elijah. You state that you have separated multiple times over the past 5 years of your marriage. You have petitioned the court to order Mr. Johnson into family counseling because you say if he will not agree you plan to divorce him.
Mr. Johnson doesn't hold back, admitting their marriage is on the fritz, but blames his wife for not backing up his authority, allowing their son to give him the cold shoulder. The blame game is strong with this one. Watch as the accusations start to fly faster than a speeding bullet.
But you argue that it's because your wife undermines your authority and allows her 12-year-old son to disrespect you.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim you were on the streets since you were 14 years old and you fear your stepson is on the same track.
Absolutely.
You are countersuing Mrs. Johnson, asking the court to order her to take anger management classes.
Mrs. Johnson claims Mr. Johnson plays favorites with the kids, especially when it comes to sports. It's like a bad episode of a daytime soap where one twin is evil and the other is good. The plot thickens. And just wait until you hear what happens at Elijah's birthday.
Okay, for an example, I put my kids in baseball. He would participate in our son Ethan's, and he would never participate in Elijah's.
That's not true
That
at all.
photo right there was Elijah's birthday. I took him to the go-karts, and he was supposed to meet us after work and didn't even show up. My son was so upset, sat there and cried because nobody came to his birthday party.
He wasn't upset that I didn't. He was upset that his cousins didn't come from Florida.
Mrs. Johnson describes how Mr. Johnson was a no-show at Elijah's birthday, leading to a tear-filled disaster. Imagine being stood up by your own stepdad. Even a reality show would struggle to script this. The mood in the courtroom is thicker than peanut butter, and the next part is a real tearjerker.
We went on a trip to Gatlinburg. It was just the four of us, and we had a great trip, and then it all just kind of dwindled down. My son, we took like a safari ride, and he said, oh, well, me and Ethan will ride on this one, and you and Elijah can ride on that. And it just hurts my son's feelings because he never shows that extra step to where...
She doesn't enforce me as a father figure.
Mr. Johnson harps on about discipline, making it clear that age should dictate respect and chores, which sounds a bit old school, like something out of a 1950s parenting manual. But don't go away yet. Elijah's heartfelt letter is about to make its debut.
Now, Mrs. Johnson, in your statement to the court, you said your son asked you, Mom, why can't I have a dad too?
He does have a dad. I'm there for him. I potty trained him. I've taught him how to ride bikes. I play video games with him. I've tried
this was
so
years
many times.
ago,
It was
though.
years ago.
Mr. Johnson, but do you show favoritism?
Don't
He
show
does. He will
favoritism,
go
no.
in our son's room that we have together, and he will go
He's
in
my
there and play
son.
video
I'm not
games
gonna be
with them.
disrespected.
Elijah's letter spills all his feelings, wishing his mom and Mr. Johnson would split. It's more dramatic than a season finale cliffhanger. The audience gasps, and you might too. What's next? Even more jaw-dropping revelations.
Feelings because he does stuff with my brother and don't want to do stuff with me.
Why? I
Jerome,
don't care. That
please
doesn't mean
hand me
nothing to
that letter.
There's so many different points
Mr.
of view.
Johnson, I have to ask you, do you have any idea why Elijah feels this way?
Elijah's disrespectful. Me, to
Yeah,
her,
but he's
to
disrespectful.
everyone.
Mr. Johnson recounts tales of Elijah's disrespect, painting a picture of domestic chaos over something as simple as a messy house. It's like a sitcom scene, but with more arguing and less laugh. The tension could be cut with a knife. And up next, Mrs. Johnson shares her side of the story.
She told him, we got a new place together. I started to remodel the entire place. She told him specifically to clean up after himself. He is 12 years old. I cleaned the entire house. 5 minutes later, he destroyed it. There's food everywhere. I asked him, pick up after yourself. I shouldn't have to do it. You're 12 years old. You do it. You'll have to deal with her when she gets home. He knows I can't have that house like that because then me and her are going to fight over a dirty house. And I'm not going to fight over a dirty house. You know what happened? I cleaned it.
Mrs. Johnson feels stuck between her son and her husband, a classic tug-of-war scenario, but with more at stake than just bragging rights. It's like choosing between two bad TV channels. The story takes a turn as the couple contemplates their future.
Because when I do
Why
go
you
to
been here
work,
10 years?
I have to take my son to my father's house. My son is not my father's responsibility.
Well, I'm sorry, you don't discipline him.
Listen.
When he does those things, do you think he gets grounded? No, she'll go buy him a video game,
Listen,
a phone,
this is
an iPod.
concerning to me because when I hear a 12-year-old child want their parents to be together anymore and that he doesn't like his stepfather
That's
at all.
'cause
This court is about empowering families, helping them understand how to be better families.
Mr. Johnson defends his strict parenting style, fearing a lax approach will lead the boys astray. He's aiming for Father of the Year, but might be missing the mark. Just when you think it's all doom and gloom, the court offers a glimmer of hope.
You're saying you're molding
Yeah,
them,
but
you're
how
giving them
is he
discipline.
showing them when he's not working a steady job? When the thing
I got
about
no
it is that
education and I do
Jason
work.
sits there and one of our biggest arguments is financially. And he's like, I help you and it's 50-50 with both of us. But it's not. Jason pays half of the bill. Stuff like that.
that a
No,
bad
but
thing?
You're saying
I
he
work-
needs to focus less on molding the children and more on providing.
both.
Mrs. Johnson admits she might have an anger issue, hinting at an explosive temper that could rival a dramatic dramatic reality show meltdown. She's ready to take on anger management, and you won't want to miss what the judge has to say about this.
I'd like to now.
I am angry and I'm upset and I just feel like I'm
Ain't
ready
nobody
to
handle him. He
explode
called me himself.
because it's with my whole family situation though.
He called me himself and couldn't handle him one day. Now, how is it just
So
me?
you're saying Mr. Mulch
Yeah.
called you and said he couldn't handle Elijah?
Absolutely. He called me. We made an agreement for Elijah to go there because we don't get along. He called me and was like, it's just too much for me too. I can't take it either. Courtney has to work tomorrow. You guys are gonna have to figure something out.
The judge suggests parenting classes, hoping to script a better future for this family drama. It's like getting a second season when you thought your favorite show was canceled. The resolution is just around the corner.
I realized that there was a petition for divorce. We've seen. I'm going to take a risk and just ask, now that we've consented to the anger management and the parenting courses, is it safe to say that we're going to work on this marriage?
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. So we won't be needing this, right?
Right.